Welcome to Man United Updates channel, home of Manchester United latest news. Manchester United make decision on Facundo Pellistri future in transfer window. Story by Samuel Luckhurst, chief Manchester United writer. Man Utd manager Erik Ten Hag has given an update on his squad ahead of transfer deadline day next week. Facundo Pellistri will not be allowed to leave Manchester United on loan, but Brandon Williams could leave before Tuesday's transfer deadline. Pellistri made his United debut after a wait of more than 2 years in the League Cup quarter-final win over Charlton earlier this month, and he emerged in the second half of the semi-final first-leg victory at Nottingham Forest on Wednesday. The 21-year-old's agent indicated before the window that Pellistri's departure in the winter window was imminent, but Ten Hag has clarified the Uruguayan will remain in the United squad for the rest of the season. "We have our ideas," Ten Hag said. "For some players, we are open for loans, but with some players they are not. Because they are first, talented, they have to develop first in our environment. Second, we have many games to cover and we need players to cover that. When you play 30 games in 10 days you need a lot of players. The way we put on Pellistri on Wednesday is already a signal." Fullback Williams, 22, has played once for United since May 2021 after spending last season on loan at Norwich, and he missed the first 3 months of this season through injury. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has emerged as a competitor for Diogo Dalot at right back, while Ten Hag has Luke Shaw and Tyrell Malacia to pick from at left back. Williams is understood to be eager to head out on loan again. Midfielder Zidane Iqbal, 19, is also keen to embark on a first loan move after not playing once for the first team all season. United likely to launch €120 million bid for Osimhen in the summer. Story by Dan Brown. As reported by Italian football transfer expert Gianluca Di Marzio, speaking to Dutch outlet Soccer News, United are likely to make a move for Napoli striker Victor Osimhen in the summer, with the club said to be plotting a record-breaking move for the 23-year-old. It adds that the Serie A outfit could be open to letting the player leave, especially if they win the Scudetto this term. Any deal for the forward is expected to cost €120 million, but United are reportedly prepared to spend big to recruit Erik Ten Hag's ideal frontman. Erik Ten Hag sends message to Manchester United board ahead of transfer deadline day. Story by Samuel Luckhurst, chief Manchester United writer. Wout Weghorst and Jack Butland have come in at Man United this month, but Erik Ten Hag is on the lookout to strike before deadline day. Erik Ten Hag has urged Manchester United to strike if an opportunity emerges in the final days of the transfer window, but admitted the decision is out of his hands. United have signed Jack Butland and Wout Weghorst on loan until the end of the season and are understood to lack sufficient financial resources to make any significant permanent additions this month. The club invested a record £225.4 million in Ten Hag's first summer transfer window, and the new financial sustainability regulations have placed pressure on United to sell players in the summer. United owe £306 million in transfer fees, and although a new starting striker is their priority for the summer, Ten Hag is understood to be keen to add a dynamic midfielder and a right back. "I have an idea, yeah," Ten Hag said of United's summer recruitment plans. "But also in the coming days, if we had the opportunity I would go for it, but that's not also up to me. That's also clear. I think this club always has to have the approach that every day you have to get better, so if there are opportunities to get better then you have to strike. That's my approach, so I'm looking around, to research. But I have an idea with which profiles we could strengthen the squad." United are the only club in the country competing on 4 fronts. They are all but in the final of the League Cup after a 3-0 semi-final first-leg win over Nottingham Forest, and Championship side Reading are due at Old Trafford in the FA Cup 4th round on Saturday. 4th in the Premier League after 20 games, United also face Barcelona in a 2-legged Europa League playoff next month. With the side well placed to have an unqualified successful season, Ten Hag is pleased with the progress. "That's good. That's why we need all the players we have in the squad here," he remarked. "To develop them, but especially to get the right results out of it. And we want to stay in those competitions as long as possible, so we have to fight for that. That is good for the development of this squad." Manchester United manager Erik Ten Hag gives update on Phil Jones. Story by Samuel Luckhurst, chief Manchester United writer. Jones has started 2 games in 3 years and made 16 starts for Man United since they gave him a 4.5-year contract in February 2019. Erik Ten Hag admits Phil Jones has not completed one training session since he took over as Manchester United manager in May. Jones, 30, is expected to be released by United when his contract expires in the summer, as he has started only 2 games in the last 3 years. The centre-back has been seldom seen at United's Carrington training complex, where he was last spotted waiting for a meeting in the reception area in October. Jones recovered from a chronic knee injury to be available for much of last season, but he appears destined to not play for United in what is bound to be his final year at the club. No, it's not been taken until now, Ten Hag said of Jones's contract situation. The decision about that is for the summer, but for the whole season he's injured. I can't say if Jones will play again this season. What I can say is that he's not available for training since the first day of training this season, so I think there's not an opportunity for you to recover quickly and be available quickly. United have the option of an additional year on Jones's contract, but are highly unlikely to exercise it due to his injury record. Jones missed the entirety of the 2020-21 season and made his first appearance in almost 2 years in the 1-0 home defeat to Wolves in January 2020. The former England international's only other start was in the 4-0 thrashing at Liverpool in April when he was substituted at half-time. Since Jones signed a 4.5-year contract in February 2019, he has started 16 times and completed 90 minutes on 12 occasions. I'm not Harry Potter. Erik Ten Hag talks Marcus Rashford's transformation and Harry Maguire's role at Manchester United. Story by Samuel Luckhurst, chief Manchester United writer. Erik Ten Hag has encouraged fantasy and adventure from Man United's forwards, but insists he is not Harry Potter. Manchester United manager Erik Ten Hag has modestly downplayed his role in Marcus Rashford's development into one of the most potent attackers in Europe. Rashford has scored 10 goals in his last 10 games for United and already has 18 club goals this season, 4 shy of his season-best tally of 22 in the 2019-20 campaign. Last season, Rashford only tallied 5 goals and did not register again for United after his added-time winner against West Ham on January 22. After Rashford's superb solo goal at Nottingham Forest in the League Cup semi-finals in midweek, Ten Hag enthused about the United forwards capable of doing something no one expects, some crazy stuff that has to be also in a team's fantasy and adventure. I'm not Harry Potter. Ten Hag laughed at his press conference ahead of United's FA Cup 4th-round tie with Reading on Saturday. It's just confidence. Every player has to make and get his own confidence. Rashford fought for this, he invested in this. Of course, with my coaching staff, we bring in structures, especially in the way of play, that give him routines that he needs to get into the right position. But finally, it's up to him, to the player, and when the player has the confidence, then I'm convinced, in the way we are working. The way of play is most important, but also the environment and the culture are also important. Then the player can perform at his best. It's obvious that Marcus at this moment is in really good shape, really good form. I think from day to day, from training to training, from game to game, the routines are coming in. The front line now also gives me a positive feeling. It's getting stronger as well, and then they can take more benefit from each other. In the first half of the season, for instance, we had many problems in the front line. Often we had games where we didn't have players who were 100% physically and mentally fit. Now that's much more the case, and Marcus can take even more benefit from such situations. Regarding a more peripheral England international at United, Ten Hag insisted Harry Maguire was not their 5th choice centre-back. No, he's not 5th choice, Ten Hag stressed. But it's up to him. I have to say he's training very well, bringing quality, and that is what I expect from all the players in the squad. He has to fight for his position and things can change, sometimes also really quickly. I think he is making progress and it's up to him. Ten Hag refuted the suggestion he seldom selects Maguire. That's not completely true. After the World Cup, he should have played, but then he got ill. I can't do anything about that and he knows that. Then you come in a run and he has to wait for his chance. I think those are the laws of football, from top football, from selection. You have to wait for a change, and in the meanwhile, make sure you are ready if the chance is there. Erik Ten Hag gives Manchester United fullbacks verdict amid competition for places. Story by Dan Brown. Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Tyrell Malacia are expected to start for Man Utd against Reading in the FA Cup on Saturday. Manchester United manager Erik Ten Hag has spoken positively about the competition for places in his side as his full-backs all continue to perform at a high level when called upon. The Reds have typically operated with Diogo Dalot and Luke Shaw at right back and left back respectively this season. However, with the former having been sidelined with an injury, and the latter sometimes playing at centre back, both Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Tyrell Malacia have enjoyed minutes in recent weeks. Prior to Dalot's injury, Wan-Bissaka appeared surplus to requirement and was expected to leave the club in this month's transfer window, but the defender has performed well in the past few matches and has demonstrated that he can be a competent deputy for the Portuguese ace. Malacia, meanwhile, featured heavily at the start of the campaign but fell behind Shaw in the pecking order at Old Trafford. The Dutchman played the full 90 minutes in the Carabao Cup semi-final first-leg win over Nottingham Forest in midweek, and he could start again for United against Reading in the FA Cup on Saturday. With Shaw, Malacia and Dalot all having played more than 20 games this term, and Wan-Bissaka having performed well recently, Ten Hag is understandably pleased with his options in that department. I think what you see is Diogo and Luke play on a really high level, but it's good to know that the depth in the squad is so good that those two come in and they can compete for their position, with Luke and with Diogo, he told Club Media. That is very good for a squad, that the internal competition is there. Everyone has to give their best to be in a team and to play a lot of games, but also from a tactical approach they are different types of players, so sometimes we can pick a player for the tactical approach. Shaw missed the win over Steve Cooper's side with illness, so it would not come as a surprise to see Malacia continue at left back on Saturday night. Meanwhile, with Dalot still out with a hamstring injury, Wan-Bissaka is expected to start against Paul Ince's men. If you like the video, give it a like and subscribe to it for more updates on Manchester United. Till next time, thank you for watching.